بهم قد زالت ذي الدنيا وسموا حبا قصد العليا صاغوا للمجد رسالتهم وأبوا إلا نورا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا Muhammad وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Establishment and management of the Masjid. The Masjid is one of the foundation of an Islamic society. At the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the well-being of a nation, culture and society was maintained from within the Masjid. Political issues, social issues, judicial issues, human rights, civil rights, war policies, cultural issues, these and many other issues were decided or judged from within the Masjid. Even so, vulnerable men and women were given shelter. They were facilitated with food and accommodation and well looked after. So, according to Islamic and civic policy rights, the Islamic government or the ruler is responsible for the construction, the maintenance and the management of the Masjid. But if one wishes to collectively or individually build, establish and maintain a masjid in their own community or within the vicinity of their residence, then they may do so. These two above mentioned ways of building or establishing and maintaining the masjid are currently carried out in Saudi Arabia and few other countries. Capability and practicality. How to build, establish a masjid and what requirements are needed from the masjid committee. Then Al-Quran Al-Kareem has given the guidelines. The following guidelines have been stated in the Quran, by which the requirements are needed to be found in the persons of the masjid committee members. These persons who would be responsible for maintaining the security and well-being of the masjid. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, إنما يأمر مساجد الله من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة ولم يخش إلا الله فعسى أولئك أن يكونوا من المهتدين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the masajid of Allah are only to be maintained. It is only to be maintained by those who believe in Allah and the last day, and establish the prayer and give zakah, and do not fear anyone except Allah, for it is expected that those will be the rightly guided. Surah number 9, Surah At-Tawbah, verse number 18. Summary and preface. So, building, maintaining and responsible for the well-being of the masjid can only be attained by the person or the persons who have at least 4 of the qualities listed below. Number 1, the ones who truly have Iman. So, the one who knowingly commits any kind of kufr, which is believing or accepting any other ways that goes against the law of Allah, denying or rejecting any of the fundamental principles given by Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or involved in shirk, which is associating anything or anyone with Allah in any way, or giving the qualities or attributes of Allah to anyone or anything, nifaq, which is hypocrisy, or involved in any kinds of major sins. Anyone involved in any kind of the above mentioned sins should not be or cannot be the part of the management or the maintainers of the masjid committee. Number 2, the ones who regularly establish the salat. The ones who do not perform salat or are negligent with performing the salat cannot be part of the masjid committee members. Number 3, the ones who accurately calculate and pay or distribute the due amount of zakah. Therefore, the ones who do not pay the zakah regularly are not worthy of being amongst those who maintain or manage the masjid. Number 3, and the most important, or one of the important, the ones who fear none except Allah alone. So no matter how much difficulty is faced, he or they are steadfast upon submission to Allah in all situations, Therefore, whoever in fear of the public, the society, the ruler or the government compromises on any law of Allah, then that person is not worthy of being a member of the Masjid Committee. Again, only those who possess the 4 qualities I have just mentioned above can only become members of the Masjid Committee. And whomsoever does not have the above qualities mentioned within them, then they are not worthy, or it is not permissible for them to be part of the members of the Masjid Committee. Otherwise, rather than benefiting, they may bring more loss. So, some suggestions for building and managing a masjid without the help of the government or the ruler. Before we say that, one must always remember that the masjid or the masajid does not belong to any individual or any community. It is the house of Allah. It has to be built and maintained by obeying the law or the command of Allah. Therefore, whoever has the above or the mentioned qualities, they may individually, collectively maintain the well-being of the masjid. Anyone who commits kufr, shirk, nifaq or major sins cannot be taken as members of the Masjid Committee. But to give advice or ideas to the Masjid Committee members, a General Members Board can be formed. And a General Members Board will be formed which includes the general public as well as the Imam. This General Members Board can, or they are permitted to give advices related to the masjid to the committee members at any time. The Imam, along with the regular attendees, they will form the General Members Board, and the Imam will be appointed as the leader or decision maker of that board. The Imam may call any meetings with his General Members Board by giving notice at least a day in advance. These are some of the qualities mentioned. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. This recording has been translated by the voice of Abu Sa'id from the works of Mufti Sharif Muhammad Sayed, who is a Mufti, Mufassir al-Quran, Muhaddith and a researcher. Hafizahullah.